Welcome to episode 94 on SEO Talk, and we'll get started. So, last week, Brighton SEO created headlines on LinkedIn. Uh, there were a lot of interesting talks by a bunch of speakers, but one of the talks by Emma Elizabeth was how to fake EEAT, and that particular talk happened on the main stage of Brighton SEO. So let me give you a little bit of context. So how does Brighton SEO organize their conference? There's one main stage where the keynote session happens on both the days, and apart from that, there are two medium-sized auditoriums, and then there are four small auditoriums where 500 audience can sit. Medium are like for 1,000 people, and the main auditorium is for 2,000 people, the total audience. So this particular lady, Emma Elizabeth, she was speaking on the main stage with such a controversial topic, and it made rounds of conversations on LinkedIn. And so we thought, why not bring this topic on LinkedIn? Sorry, on SEO Spaces. Cool, we can get started. We have our co-founder with us, Malarbai, who is behind the main SEO Talk handle. I would hand over the mic to him.
Sure, thank you so much. And I guess I'll repeat what Pat said. So, welcome back to SEO Talk, episode 94. It's interesting one because one, it comes after a little longish kind of weekend. So, I guess we are pumped up as much as we can. And again with an interesting topic because say faking EAT etc. Right? We always wonder what is going wrong or what is happening, and we have always seen say some of the large publishers getting uh, benefits due to various reasons, right? And then there are polished author bios, someone demonstrating or highlighting their expertise, etc. Right? All of this is happening, and while we all know it's a risky game and it could backfire at sometimes, but again, sometimes as SEO folks, we still try to say take some risk. And today we are going to talk about all those stuff and see, okay, how much risk is good to take and how much should you just let it go, because then the algorithm always catches up and you could always get hit, right? So, and it's not a risk worth taking. So we'll talk all about that on episode 94 of SEO Talk, faking EAT, a smart strategy or a SEO snake oil. Over to you, Parth.
Yeah, so since the EEAT guidelines have been out like the early days of 2018, and then it matured, Google updated its guidelines in late 2018 to early 2019. And since then, I've seen a lot of uh, niche bloggers, I would say indie hackers, who are running websites on health or medic niche or YMYL, like the finance niche particularly. They have been creating profiles on author profiles, specifically on website. And those were not real profiles, those were kind of fake profiles. And it used to work until some time ago, but I'm not sure if it's still working because this particular lady who presented on the main stage showed a couple of examples, but I tried finding her the deck, the examples that she shared, but I couldn't get hold of it. It's not publicly available yet, but yeah, it it used to be an easy approach in 2020, 2021, probably until 2022, but it's difficult to fake EAT and rank these days. But we have Gagan. I think so. Gagan just joined and left. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, it's difficult to fake these days. Even Google caught HubSpot red-handed publishing starkly different content. And if these profiles are not genuine, legit profiles, then it's going to be a difficult time for brand. So only indie hackers and can go ahead and experiment, but I do not recommend for any businesses or brands who are looking for long-term growth from SEO channel. I would never recommend them to use this particular tactic. But yeah, let's unfold what are the other nuances to this particular EEAT tactic. And yeah, we have Isha joining us. Yep, we're adding people to our panel, and we'll open it up for conversation. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, yeah, yes, people.
Uh, But as you said, I also read about it, how we can fake EAT by manipulating the author bio and our expertise to showcase like we are the we have the experience, right? So my question is, and let's say somebody is a content marketer and they have 1 year of experience in that field. Okay. For example, finance. But they do not have like in-depth knowledge of a particular topic. And they have created a author bio which looks well that they come from good background, they have knowledge of finance and all. They don't have in-depth knowledge. So let's say in the eyes of Google, it will look legitimate, right? But how we can how Google can identify that the person is he or she really have the knowledge of that particular field. I mean, like nowadays anybody can write their expertise, they are doing content marketing since like 5 to 6 years, they have expertise in it and all.
Okay, yeah, very very fair question. I think so. People, thanks for bringing this up. So there are two ways to approach it. Number one is identifying if that person or that individual is a real name, real human existing, and it has at least some online presence on the web. Okay, whether they have an Instagram profile, X profile, LinkedIn profile, overall, very minimal hygiene kind of presence out there. Okay, so that's number one check. Number two is, for example, if you search anyone's name, let's take my example only, like uh, if you search is Parth a good SEO consultant or whatever, like you search, you'll find some work done by me on YouTube, somewhere on some news articles and stuff like that. So if you have been doing these online, like if you have your profile online for more than 5 years, you will have some bits and pieces of information available on the web. So that's the credibility, that if there are a lot of social mentions to your name associated with that particular SEO entity or travel or uh, anything around health or anything around finance, that will help. If you just have 1 year of experience, or if you don't have experience and if you just show, then I don't think so you'll get penalized, because it's a genuine person who has subject matter expertise and who is reviewing the content, but there's no depth to it. Okay, so that's how the difference is. So this will not get you penalized or something like that, but not help you in a like longer term results as well. I think so. Deepak wants to add something. Sure, Deepak, please go ahead.
Hi, I will continue with the Vipul question. So, if a medical practitioner comes, he has experience of let's say 10 years, but he was not online. Suddenly, he comes online, and how will he?
Sorry, Deepak, we lost you.
Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
My question is, I'm continuing with a Vipul question. If a person, let's say a doctor uh, doesn't have online presence for let's say 10 years, and then he decides to come up online and share his knowledge on internet with a blog. How will he establish himself as a credible source of information or expertise,
Okay, so
because he didn't have any presence online before?
yeah, that's a valid question, Deepak. And अगर उस तरीके से सोचा जाए तो वो डॉक्टर ऑफलाइन रहेंगे, वो शायद डॉक्टर इज काइंड ऑफ अ सीनियर सिटीजन, अभी तक वो नहीं थे बट वो 30-40 ईयर से प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं व्हाटएवर। बट अभी अगर वो
A,
ऑनलाइन होंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं उनको, मतलब उनके क्लिनिक का गूगल बिजनेस प्रोफाइल होगा, फिर उन्होंने कुछ तो स्टडी किया हो, कुछ वाइट पेपर्स या कहीं कहीं पे कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट किया होगा, तो वो सारी चीजें थोड़ी इधर उधर शेयर करनी पड़ेगी, थोड़ी क्रेडिबिलिटी बनानी पड़ेगी। बट अगर वो कुछ भी नहीं किया, स्टेप जीरो है, फिर भी लाइक उनके वेबसाइट पे अबाउट पेज पे अगर मेंशन कर दिया है कि बैक इन 1980s उन्होंने यहाँ से पढ़ाई की थी, ये यूनिवर्सिटी से उन्होंने एमबीबीएस किया था, ये वो ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला, आई थिंक सो दैट इज मोर देन इनफ टू एक्सप्लेन कि भाई इज अ रियल ह्यूमन डॉक्टर। एंड ये उनके क्रेडिबिलिटीज हैं, ये उनका एजुकेशन है, ये उनका इयर्स ऑफ प्रैक्टिस है। 10 साल ये हॉस्पिटल में सर्व किया था, 5 साल खुद का क्लिनिक था, वट एवर। तो ये सारी चीजें अबाउट पेज पे मेंशन करना। एंड फिर वहाँ पे कोई पर्टिकुलर स्कीमा होगा तो वो आप यूज करो, स्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा, एंड यू लेट गूगल नो कि दिस इज अ लेजिट प्रोफाइल, सो दिस इज हाउ यू अप्रोच इट। नाउ द टू पार्ट्स टू इट वापस की, आपका कंटेंट कोई लिख रहा है जिसको 2-3-4-5 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है कि हेल्थ निश में कंटेंट लिखने का, तो वो है, उसके पास है सब्जेक्ट मैटर एक्सपर्टीज कि भाई वो टोन क्या यूज होना चाहिए, वो मेडिकल लैंग्वेज में क्या वोकेबलरी क्या होती है, ये वो, ठीक है, वो टर्म्स। ऐसा ना हो कि कोई मतलब टेक वाला बंदा आके लिख दे हेल्थ का ब्लॉग, एंड देन फिर रिव्यूड बाय दिस डॉक्टर, और वहां पे वो डॉक्टर के उसमें वहां पे लिंक टू his or her profile. So this is how you can approach it. Eventually, because वो डॉक्टर का कुछ ऑफलाइन प्रेजेंस तो होगा, इवेंचुअली he or she will have their offline community। जैसे वो ऑनलाइन कंटेंट सर्व करना शुरू करेंगे, you'll see at least some traction on his public profiles wherever he or she is online। So yeah, this is how legit approach ये authentic way से कर सकते हैं, मतलब।
Yes, Parth, I agree with you. Like in initial time, I think his education will be much more beneficial to make Google understand about his qualification and all. And rest the publication part he might have published somewhere. So in the initial time, it will help.
Correct, correct. And we have two folks, Sanjana and Isha, women in SEO. So yeah, let's have them on the stage as well. Like Sanjana, Isha, if you have any thoughts, questions, if you want to share.
Okay, I guess I have sent the invite to both, so feel free to join. And let's get started from a real perspective, because we I guess some of the basic questions we already covered in terms of, okay, what is a fake EAT and what do we mean by that? If you just want to start with that basic and then we go forward from there. But
Yeah.
if you're speaking,
Yeah, sorry. Can you repeat? Like, yeah, Shreyas, if you want to go first, like, I'll continue next.
मैं एक चीज कैन आई एम आई ऑडिबल नाउ?
yes, very much.
ओके। मैं एक चीज शेयर करना चाहता हूँ कि मैंने अभी फ्रीलांसिंग में एसईओ के लिए एक वेबसाइट ली थी, तो जिसमें वो जो डॉक्टर थे वो डेंटिस्ट थे और उनका एक्सपीरियंस भी 16-17 साल का था, तो उनका ऑनलाइन प्रेजेंस कुछ भी नहीं था। तो मुझे अबाउट अस पेज पे मैंने वही किया था कि जैसे बात बोल रहे थे कि जैसे अबाउट अस पेज पे मैंने उनका एक्सपीरियंस, नंबर ऑफ इयर्स का एक्सपीरियंस डाला था, और उसके साथ उनकी जो पुरानी जो डिग्री थी उसका सर्टिफिकेट भी डाले थे, और उनके एजुकेशंस भी डाले थे, और जो वेबिनार्स और इवेंट्स में वो गए थे, कंट्रीब्यूशन किया था, वो भी वहाँ दिखाया दिखाया था। तो वो लाइक हेल्प करता है कि ईईएटी में वो भी हेल्प करता है। और जो भी ब्लॉग्स मैं अभी पब्लिश करने वाला हूँ उनके साइट पे, तो वो भी आई थिंक फ्यूचर में मेरे को हेल्प करेंगे शायद।
100%। एंड एक और चीज मैं ऐड करना यहाँ पे भूल गया था लास्ट आंसर में, कि जो डॉक्टर्स के लिए जो डायरेक्टरीज है ऑनलाइन, वेदर यू थिंक अबाउट प्रैक्टो या फिर वेब एमडी या जो भी लोकल इंडिया में, वहाँ पे भी आप प्रोफाइल बनाओगे तो वो लोग पूरा क्यूरेट करते हैं, मतलब जेन्युइन डॉक्टर्स का प्रोफाइल ही ऑनबोर्ड करेंगे, और वो वेबसाइट का अथॉरिटी है। तो अगर आपका प्रोफाइल वहां पे बना हुआ है वेब एमडी पे, वैसे अगर आप फाइनेंस निश में हो तो आपका इन्वेस्टोपीडिया पे प्रोफाइल बना हुआ है, तो वो सारी चीजें बहुत मैटर करती है, कि आपका एक्सपर्टीज क्या लेवल है, आपका एक्सपीरियंस क्या है। तो यप।
एक फनी बात बताना चाहता हूँ मैं कि मैं जिन डॉक्टर का बना रहा था उनका ऑलरेडी प्रैक्टो पे प्रोफाइल था बहुत साल पहले। तो उनका वो वही प्रोफाइल गूगल पे रैंक कर रहा है अभी भी। बल्कि मैं 1 डेढ़ महीने से वो मतलब ट्राई कर रहा हूँ कि उनकी साइट आनी चाहिए, बट वो नहीं आ रही है। उनकी प्रैक्टो की प्रोफाइल आ रही है। तो एक फनी चीज है अभी भी, बट वो ऑफ कोर्स वो ट्रस्टवर्दी भी है, जेन्युइन भी है, तो वो आनी भी चाहिए। बट मैं मतलब कुछ-कुछ कीवर्ड्स पे उनकी वेबसाइट पे रैंक करवाना चाहता हूँ, तो वो मेरा अभी मतलब लाइक अपॉर्च्युनिटी है मेरे को वो अभी भी कि कैसे लाऊँ और क्या करूँ? और प्रैक्टो का मतलब उनका हो गया है कि लाइक उनका जो प्रोफाइल किया था वो मतलब उनका क्रेडेंशियल्स वो भूल गए हैं, तो अभी वही अभी रैंक कर रहा है, तो उसमें भी मैं कुछ एडिट्स भी नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ। तो वो भी एक इश्यू है।
करेक्ट, करेक्ट। नहीं, इट्स अ जेन्युइन केस जहाँ पे आप रिवर्स इंजीनियर कर सकते हो कि प्रेक्टिव वाला जो उनका प्रोफाइल यूआरएल है वो कौन से कीवर्ड्स के लिए रैंक कर रहा है। आप एhrefs या सेमरश पे देख सकते हो, ब्रांडेड कीवर्ड्स हटा दो प्रेक्टिव वाले, नॉन ब्रांड कीवर्ड, तो थोड़ा आप अपने हैंड से ऑप्टिमाइज कर सकते हो। एंड अगर आप सोचो 5 साल से अगर उनका प्रेक्टो पे प्रोफाइल है, एंड 5 साल में अगर 30,000 पीपल ने वो प्रोफाइल विजिट किया है, तो वहाँ पे एक ट्रस्ट बैठा हुआ है, ये है वो है सब। तो अगर वहाँ पे कंसल्टेशन फी 800 है, अगर वो उनकी वेबसाइट पे उससे सस्ता रखते हैं, एंड बेसिकली एंगेजमेंट यहाँ पे लाना पड़ेगा। और वो जब वो चेंज होगा ना कि भाई पीपल हैव स्टार्टेड प्रेफरिंग देयर मेन वेबसाइट, यू हैव टू डू समथिंग ऑन देयर वेबसाइट कि आप यहाँ से बुकिंग करो या ये करो, ये डिस्काउंट, वो ऑफर, ये एडिशनल, कुछ ना कुछ आपको करना पड़ेगा टू। एंड जब भी कोई ऑफलाइन पेशेंट्स आते हैं उनको भी बोलना पड़ेगा कि भाई अभी आप डायरेक्ट मेरी वेबसाइट से बुक कर सकते हो। तो वर्ड ऑफ माउथ एंड एवरीथिंग, तो इवेंचुअली 3 to 6 months में यू विल बी एबल टू कॉन्सेंट्रेट जो पूरा अटेंशन है उनके मेन वेबसाइट पे।
यस।
यस
थैंक्स
दीपक।
थैंक्स थैंक्स फॉर इनसाइट्स।
कूल कूल। यस दीपक।
अभी मैं जिस कंपनी में बात कर रहा हूँ ना, काम कर रहा हूँ ना, उसमें एक ऐसी है प्रैक्टो जैसी ही एक प्लेटफॉर्म बिल्ड हो रही है। तो अगर आप इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अगर आप प्रैक्टो वालों से बात करोगे और आप पूरा दिखाओगे कि हाँ मैं ही रियल पर्सन हूँ, तो आपका वो क्रेडेंशियल चेंज करके दे देंगे।
या cool, thanks for sharing that recommendation, Deepak.
Okay, back on the track, and I guess we'll dumb it down for a minute. Uh, just a practical explanation of what does faking EAT actually mean.
Okay,
Anyone who
yeah, I'll just take it up. So, um, what was happening So SEO has been there before 2018 as well. Like for 2008 to 2018, 10 years, people started spamming it with keyword density and all of that until 2012. And then the Google search, the target audience, like people are finding a lot of health tips which were not spot on but were found online. So what Google came up with is that not every Tom, Dick, and Harry will be able to publish health content and rank. So if you are a brand and if you are a specialist in the specific health or finance niche, then only you can, like, your content will rank. So they came up with this. So it's so everyone relates to EEAT with author profiles and reviewed by specialist profiles and all of that. But EEAT is way more than that. It's about creating the right about us page, contact us page, and when you add a particular person's identity on that about page, you link to other external credible sources. That's also part of it, and then you add a lot of schemas, organization schema, and specific schemas. I can't recall all of them, but yeah. And that's how you achieve EAT, that is expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And now, how do you fake it? Like, uh, a doctor who is like a top dentist in Pune, for example, and you directly add his or her profile in on your website, and then you add a tag on your blogs that reviewed by this so and so doctor. You have not taken their permission, so people started faking in this way also. People started collaborating that, hey, I'll use your name as a doctor on my website and I'll pay you some royalty. So there were ways, these were ethical ways, but unethical was like creating a pure fake profile with a profile picture and description. And now with ChatGPT, it's more easier. But all of these things don't work until you have all the credible sources. And Google's algorithm have become so smart. But I'm curious, once we get hold of the presentation shared by Emma Elizabeth on the in the Brighton SEO main stage, if we get hold of it, like we'll reverse engineer the case study that she had shared if it's still working in 2025. So yeah, but I would never recommend it to a brand. If you want to do SEO for at least like next 3 to 5 years, I would never recommend. You can rank for short term, maybe 3 6 months, max up to a year, and then your website may get penalized. Now coming to the E part, like the second E, which was introduced in 2021, 22, I don't remember the exact year, but it's about experience. So if you are writing content, the content should sound like from first person, like that particular person has written content that I have been treating patients for this particular disease for last 7 years, and I have found this as symptoms. But you should always consult a specialist doctor near you. So all of these recommendations come from a doctor, and it is first person tone. So that is how it matters. But yeah, if anyone else, Vipul, you want to add something?
But I saw a Reddit post of John Mueller. So there he said that you cannot just add EAT. Like nowadays, there's a lot of talk about EAT, how to add in your content piece on your website and all. So John Mueller said you cannot just add EAT on your website. It's mainly the user when the user comes on your particular page or website, then the experience they get and how long they stay, that helps Google in understanding that that particular page is more helpful, and it is like the page is the content is created by an experienced person which is helping the other user.
Absolutely. Yeah, Google. can understand engagement and interactions with a particular content piece more than the content itself. So that's going to be the prime factor for sure.
Super. Anyone else? Isha, Shreyas, if you want to pick up, just your thought.
I am here more to listen than talk, because I really want to know how exactly people are faking it. Uh, but genuinely, I just wanted to know that, it's again a debate happening since ages. Is it only for I mean, whole this fake EET, or rather EEAT, where especially this experience authority thing which we are talking about, is it only limited to doctors, lawyers, financial professionals, especially the industries which are entitled to, where uh, you need a privileged education or authority which is talking about, and if you talk about the general industry, apart from that, like the other people who are into the world in B2B space, in e-commerce, for them it doesn't matter.
Great question, Isha. So what has so EAT only EAT was introduced back in 2018 just for the medic update and YMYL related content. Eventually, around 3 years ago, it was expanded. So 2022, if we consider like travel bloggers as well. So if you have been traveling, if you have been sharing content, if you have your profile on a couple of platforms related to travel, you can leverage that. But ironically, what happened in September 2023 SEO update is that I know one, I forgot his name, but is an SEO guy, is an avid traveler, and he wrote a content piece back in 2016. He went to Bali. That content piece was ranking. He had his own personal travel website. He was running a travel blog. It was ranking for 5 6 years in top three position. After the SEO update, the branding thing, the overall brand authority, has overtaken niche bloggers, individual bloggers, and niche websites, which has like 200, 300, just pure travel content or just pure content websites have been affected. Um, but websites with brand entity and brand who have built good brand over a period of years, they are getting more and more leverage. So that's how Google is treating individual bloggers. So EEAT does matter, but I think so. Brand authority plus EAT is the way to go.
Very
Okay.
nicely played. Yeah.
Sorry, Isha, go ahead, please.
No, I was saying very nicely placed, and I think you're right. Like brand authority and EAT is what it is, and maybe I would say that even the brand authority is part of EAT itself, because when you're building up a brand, you're actually building up the authority. So you have to ensure that you are uh, considering all of the EAT factors when you are building up, because you have to give that experience. Your tonality has to be in that line. Your communication, your brand guidelines has to be entitled to it. So yes, Path, very nice, nicely placed.
Okay, fantastic. So, moving on to the next one in terms of because we all talked about the entire about the author section and to make the content feel more credible, etc. So, I guess we earlier used to have something like pen names, right? And where I could write under someone else's name, etc. So, do you think it's the same approach that you utilize someone's name? Uh, and how ethical, non-ethical, we can talk about it later. But it's, I guess, it's a pen name or whatever you call it, right? So, what? How would you actually do it? Because I heard that you briefly explained that you ethically say pay someone and or unethically you create a profile, but uh, how does that actually help in building, say, the entire EAT part of the business?
Uh, Valid question. I think so. Yeah, there are two sides of it. Ethical in Google's eyes, but unethical from business perspective. Like you need to reach out to someone, ask for their consent, and add them as a member of your senior member of your team, or whatever you say, like add to your board of directors or like whatever language in blogging. But yeah, you add them to your team, take their consent, and mutually agree on a royalty. Then you create their profile on your website, and then you have a say from them. And then whether you have your in-house review system where you don't take their help or don't involve them, it's up to you. But yeah, this is the ethical way to do. But people, I've seen people back in 2020, 2021 directly right away using I saw there's a friend of mine uh was running this website for cannabis and CBD oil and all of that. The website was .ca, targeting particularly in Canada. I was running an affiliate website, and he found a doctor and directly attached. That was actually unethical. But yeah, that's how he gamed. So he reached out to me in just after a month of COVID, May 2020. I clearly remember we planned a strategy. We started recovering it, and after 4 months, it recovered as well in September, October, and then again after a year, it fell down. So uh, yeah, this has been the story, backstory 4 or 5 years ago.
Shreyas, Deepak, Vipul, anyone has a thought? No? All right.
I,
And yeah,
Malhar, two things. One is I feel I think there's nothing unethical, honestly, if a doctor or rather any practitioner is giving you a permission to use their name, because then they are aware of. So I don't think so. It's an unethical kind of an approach. But then again, it also gave me a thought of, so what will happen to all the ghost writers? Because a lot of times uh, no, like these people are not genuinely writing. So there are two ways to it. One is like you yourself has hired a ghostwriter. You're telling, okay, fine, you write about it, I'm authorizing it, but I'll just ensure that I'm talking about it. Then second approach which came to my mind was that, when we do a lot of outreach, so where we do these skyscraping techniques and other techniques uh, where we try to mention things which are better than that, and then even creating those listicle based articles and then mentioning 4 or 5 or 10 comparison based things. So do you think those, because those will also be part of, like, those are also ethical ways of just approaching, ensuring the authority is there?
um so what happens is, you have you have someone who you have partnered with, and you have added all the tags and about page and all of that, reviewed by so and so person. But the essence is, like, if the content is not having that depth, like the experience part of it, like the first person's unique research or unique experience being added, and if there's no interaction with the content, like Google will not kind of promote it in a way. So that's again going to be a challenge, even if we do skyscraper and all of that, like, but that will only work for uh 90 SEO tips, and then someone writes 120 SEO tips, all of that listicles type of thing. But I'm not sure if it's going to work here.
yeah, Deepak, please.
I think listicle type of articles does work, uh, because I have, just try to get insight how these, especially LLM type of search engines, how works. So I try to find what this source, what they give as source. Then you will find that they mostly refer from either Reddit forums uh, or it is a listicle type of website articles that Isha is talking about.
Yeah, and but maybe I also wanted to ask. I mean, see, we're still talking about the author's authority only. I mean, or rather, I would say that because the point which you mentioned that the content needs to talk about, then again, like here, it's a very gray area because everybody is not a writer. Even the language which doctor speaks will be very technical. Yes, you have to ensure that you're writing in that particular technical language, but a user doesn't speak that technical language, because a lot of time we marketers try to bridge the gap between this technical and user oriented language, uh, and maybe sometimes we end up I mean, sometimes things work, sometimes things doesn't work, but uh, then my actually question is that in this whole author bio thing, or rather EAT thing, apart from the author's authority, what about the other factors? Is there any other factors also uh, which are impacting? Because maybe the person is like, there are a lot of people who are uh, I mean, somebody in the start only talked about there are a lot of people who are maybe virtually not present, but physically their names are in the medical directories. Their name could be in those government listing sites where they have, or rather on those college, they are kind of speakers on those colleges. Not everything is actually being digitally present, but maybe offline things are present. So how do you bridge the gap there?
Think so. So the first part is like limited to the author and the partnership and the reviewing thing and all of that. But again, like, so these specialists just share their insights and the whole story. So if being an SEO, if we decide a particular topic, okay, so we reach out to them and ask for their quotes or any specialized inputs or any specialized experience they have. They share it with us, and then there's a content writer who has experience writing content for health, particularly medical field. Now that content will be in very simple language where the audience can understand. At the same time, making sure that the quote or any particular experience insights shared by the doctor can be included. So that is how we can approach it. So the tone of, because how to write that first person experience content, the doctor might not know. They will obviously delegate it or pass it on to the writer. Uh, so that's one thing. And apart from that, these days I think so multimodal content is also important. So taking snippets and bits of video recording of what they want to share, a minute or two is also fine, but embedding those videos into the content, and that would be a real value addition.
All right. Hope it answers the question, Isha.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, before we move to the next one, if anyone wants to come on the stage, ask a question or share a thought, just raise your hand and I will send you an invite to join. All right. So moving forward, lot of conversations around how you can do it, but let's go over on the other side of the table in terms of the Google algorithm. Can they actually measure the entire experience and trustworthiness? Because right now, one of you just mentioned that, say, John Mueller did speak that EAT cannot be implemented, but can it be measured, the entire experience and the trustworthiness part?
I think
If
so. Yeah, I think so it's difficult. Right now, it's kind of mostly perception. So Google uses like proxy metrics like backlinks, structured data, entity associations, content signals, but they cannot validate that if the author or the content reviewed by person has actually 10 years of experience. Like they don't have a background check this thing. They have to rely on like, so if you can fake the whole drama, like creating the profile and adding the 10 years of experience, now you create a WebMD profile, and there also you are able to fake it like 10 years of experience, and on Precto as well, and all of that, you orchestrate the whole fake picture, then I don't think so Google can. And that is something I think so. I'm curious that Emma Elizabeth would have shared something around that on the BrightonSEO stage. But yeah, we have two hands raised. Deepak, if you want to go first.
Go ahead, Vipul.
So I agree with Bart that there's no particular thing like how they can verify it. But I guess like most of the big brands have good authority and they have like wide coverage of the topics and all. So this might be one of the way Google, identify the experience and like the expertise of a particular niche or a domain that helps in ranking their articles. But like apart from that, like if a website is new or not so like, like they don't have much expertise in the content pieces, they don't have much coverage of the topics and all. So I think it becomes difficult even if the content is very well written.
Exactly. It's more like giving more context to the search engine, especially Google, about you or your website to considered as a authoritative website or authoritative person, or call it ethical or unethical way. We all are faking EEAT in a way.
कुछ ज्यादा ही सच बोल दिया.
Yeah, right.
All right, we move to
No,
the. Yeah, yes,
sorry.
Isha.
No, so I was just saying that this whole EAT, because that just reminded me of recently I was reading a lot on AI ranking factors. I mean, how exactly a website is getting leveraged, or why a website gets picks up in a particular I mean, if you add a prompt, why exactly a particular website? So there are a lot of studies which are happening at that, and I'm actually relating that even that the way that's also working is almost similar to what we are talking right now, because there also it's all about the context. Like the more content you are creating, ensuring that the intent is right, ensuring that the like your content is being mentioned, acknowledged at multiple places, and that's why this whole brand authority is also playing. So all of this is like correlated to each other. So to get the visibility, it's a by default kind of a thing which has to be there. So rather than it's a like rather than thinking it that um, um, I mean, rather than taking it as a different way, maybe you can just take it as a part of your SEO journey. That if you want to build up a website, it has to be authoritative, especially if you even want to, and authoritative, as Path mentioned, in terms of content, in terms of the person who's talking about the credibility, and also ensuring that you are actually present on multiple places, so that's actually that's becoming a must at this point of time for every brand.
Absolutely. All right, move to the next one, and because we talk about enter the experience part of it. So all of us probably have experienced the entire some websites probably survive just by the entire look and feel part and dumb content. So have you seen those kind of examples? And if you, I know you might be reluctant to name it, but still, if you want to name few sites which are extremely good looking, but the content you'll read it and say, ah, how is this guy able to rank?
Um, so far, none. What I have seen is people first figure out their content part and eventually they improve on the UI UX and then eventually end up adding sticky table of contents and improvising on the font, improvising on the CTAs and all of that, adding more media images, infographics to the content. So very rarely that could be a scenario like, but I haven't come across any such website so far. I have come across, but those are like 3, 4, 5 pages website for personal branding stuff where there's no content. It's just about that particular individual consultant or a brand where they have used a WordPress or a Webflow or a Wix theme which looks shiny, but the content is quite mediocre. But not specifically a content website in that regards.
All right. Anyone else? All right. No problem. Yeah. Okay. Let me go into the entire because the debate of ethical versus unethical part of it, right? So while all of us feel that it might not be ethical to entire simulate the EEAT, but say you're working with a customer who probably is desperate to get ranked somehow, and the only way for you to do it is say simulate the entire EAT. How would you do that? And again, like the debate, unethical, ethical, it just goes off, right? Because you have a customer who demands it, or you are probably working with a brand where the CMO demands it. How do you manage that expectation? Again, because I know some of you are independent SEO agencies, etc., or freelancers. How do you manage the expectations?
I think so. On a level playing field, where this competitive market, if someone is trying to simulate presentation, that's kind of a strategy, like a strategical approach. But if he or she is trying to mislead users by using like fake credentials or fake testimonials, that's totally unethical. And I think so. There's a fine line between presentation and deception, and it's not going to last forever. And even if you fake things and show like simulate EAT by any chance, um, you have to produce really great quality of content again and again, and you have to bring those repeating readers, users to back to your website. I think so. Those who try to fake things don't last longer. Don't produce consistent content. Don't produce content consistently for a longer period of time. So that's again a signal for Google to not give priority to that particular brand.
So consistency is the key. If you are consistent even with a fake EAT, faking a EAT, you might rank.
Okay, fair. But वही है, see, you can be consistent, but consistent कब तक रहोगे? See, it's because your customer or your CMO would always want the results as soon as possible, right? तो उनको बोल तो नहीं सकते बस हमको कंसिस्टेंट रहना है, 1 साल कंसिस्टेंट रहोगे तो शायद कुछ होगा, राइट? सो हाउ डू यू मैनेज दैट एक्सपेक्टेशन? Anyone? No.
I think so. It's difficult, and it doesn't go a long way. That's all I want to add.
I guess I'll squeeze in the last question here since we are just a little 5 minutes away. So, uh, I'll take the same line of thought where someone has asked you to probably build a profile, etc., or add a fake award, buy testimonials, etc. How have you managed that? Or have you ever faced that? And if you have faced that, how did you manage those kind of expectation? Because this, I believe, are also signals that would say build authority or trust, etc. Huh, Deepak?
Um, yes, Deepak, go ahead.
I have a question here, mm, especially on the testimonial part. Let's say if even if you have a real testimonials, like you asked for testimonial offline and then published it online, even you put the name of that your customer or patient, will that work if you don't give enough context or link to their profile somewhere, or even Google, or even social media like LinkedIn? Does that help?
I don't think so.
Sorry, say again.
मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि अगर किसी से टेस्टिमोनियल लिया हमने,
हाँ
वो
जी।
रियल पर्सन है, फेक कुछ भी नहीं है, लेकिन हमने उसका जब टेस्टिमोनियल अपने वेबसाइट पे डाला तो हमने उसका नाम तो यूज किया, लेकिन कहीं से लिंक नहीं किया कि हाँ इसने यहाँ पर टेस्टिमोनियल अपना दिया है, चाहे गूगल हो या फेसबुक हो या फिर लिंक्डइन हो, वहाँ वहाँ पे किसी का प्रोफाइल लिंक्ड नहीं है, तब वो हेल्प करेगा या नहीं?
मतलब ही नहीं होगा ना।
करेक्ट। एंड आपके पास रिसोर्सेस है तो आप दे दो गूगल को, वो आपके एडवांटेज में है। अगर आप नहीं दे रहे हो, फिर आप वेट कर रहे हो कि गूगल अपने आप से वो फाइंड कर लेगा, तो दैट्स शूटिंग इन द डार्क, ऐसा हो गया।
Well, you're kind of uh, say not giving any signal to the search engine कि ये बंदा genuine है, right? You are just depending on कि Google might understand from somewhere that this person is genuine, right? Does it help?
I think it more depends on the competition.
Hmm.
If everyone is doing the same, then in your industry specifically, then it might work.
मतलब वही ना, you're still say again debate वही आ जाता है कि you can try it but uh, you can't guarantee it, right?
ये स्पेसिफिकली मेडिकल सेक्टर में ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम आती है, क्योंकि कुछ-कुछ ऐसी बीमारियां होती हैं जिसको लेकर के पेशेंट्स ओपन अप नहीं होना चाहते या फिर अपनी आइडेंटिटी रिवील नहीं करना चाहते। दैट्स गेट ट्रिकी।
All right. So we are up on the hour of SEO talk. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining.